Okay, so here's a quick video for the Fondy Farmers Market meeting, because every time there's a farmers meeting somebody says, how do you do mushrooms? We want to do mushrooms. I was doing mushrooms really well. I had some problems. I'm going to be doing them again this season, and I'll be happy to try to show people how. There are also some strains I haven't done before and some outdoor methods that I haven't done before, but there's some problems. I think I will avoid some problems from the indoor methods. Anyway, here's a mushroom. And we'll see there's this little green spot right under that cut. That stuff will, it's terrible, terrible, terrible. Here's another stem, and you'll kind of hard to see, but it's a little fuzzy on this white part right here. That, some people would say that looks like mold. It's not mold. It's a mycelium. It's a little hair-like thing. There's some little bit on this tip here too. That this little spot here is a little fuzzy, maybe hard to see on the video. But those little hair-like things are mycelium. There's spores that come in from under here that get into the mushroom, and they keep growing. It's part of the life cycle of the mushroom. That little white spot right here, they're like little hair-like strands. Some people would say, oh, that's mold on the mushroom. No, it's not. That little stuff is what will turn into a mushroom. So what you do is you suit up like a little laboratory, and you have little fans going so you don't get any dirt in anything, and you make grain in these jars in pressure cookers. Now with water. Now you'll see how they stick to the sides. That's because I put in far too much water. This was a jar that I didn't prepare so well, but it's like perfectly sterile in there. The next thing to do would be then to create like a box and stuff, and to imprint some of this little fuzzy stuff inside here. And there's a couple ways to do that, but I'm not going to show you that yet. I'll show that another time. Then you get like a jar that's kind of like this, and you'll see that these grains have water and they kind of like flow a little bit better. But if we look here, you can sort of see these little white clumps here. There's a little clump. What happened here? That stuff started moving into the grain, and it started getting that little clump, and you can see little white things into the grain, and then it just decided to stop growing because it just didn't grow anymore. And you got a couple of things here. We have a little Tyvek cloth here and little holes here so they can breathe, but this started growing and then just stopped. That was mostly a temperature problem. Here we got another one here, same little deal. And we put some in here, and there's a little bit too much water, but it's still okay. You can see that it was just kind of starting to grow on these little tips, and then it just stopped. And same thing here, where this one didn't grow so well, but you can sort of see like these little tiny things starting right here at the tips. It was just starting to infect the grain, and then it stopped. And here is kind of how it should look when you have it going. You'd have all the mycelium, these little tiny things that are on these little hairs here, start growing all through here. And then when it gets at this point, there's so much mycelium that it's crowded everything out. And then you can just put that into various stuff. Manure, compost, dirt, straw, depends on the strain, wood. So this was pretty nice, but the problem here on this orange stuff on the bottom, this is a bacterial infection. And, you know, these two things kind of fought each other and stopped, but, you know, one kind of killed off the other. And it was kind of the problem at the end for me was I was spending a lot of time doing these things, and some of these infections can be so bad you have to throw all the equipment away. And it was just hurting too much. I was getting some good runs, but I was also developing a lot of problems at the same time. I think that if I do some outdoor mushrooms, I can avoid some of those problems. Some of the yields and the consistency and the timing will be a little different, but I'm happy to show all the farmers at Fondy how I do it. We could do some wine caps in the hoop houses without having some of these problems. We could do some things outside at various times of the year, or even make a mushroom house, you know, with an equip grant. We'll see. But anyway, more to come. That's how you do it. You take the little fuzzy things that grow on these mushrooms, you put them into a grain jar like this, and you hope you get something like this. but not this. And then that's how you do the mushrooms.